Mueller, what is happening?
How are you?
I am fantastic. I appreciate you allowing me to uh, be a part of your berm for a little bit, be amongst your
Sure.
greatness. All
Sure,
right, hey,
sure.
let's start. First, introduce yourself and your role with Collab Lending.
Melissa Mueller, and with CoLab Lending, I do residential and commercial mortgages here. I run our commercial division. So that's been fun just because there's a lot of different things you can do with commercial, but residential is also a good time.
How long have you been with the company?
I started 2 weeks before COVID, so I am on year 3.
Right. So we're going to get to commercial because really that's one of the big reasons I wanted to talk to you. I want to dig a little deeper on that. But we met at the same time at the Collab Keystone at the time, their retreat. Yeah. And I can't remember where you were in the process. I think maybe you had already committed, or had you committed yet?
I was in the process of getting my license. So, you got to get that taken care of before, you can do anything. So.
Yeah. And we both essentially started at the same time. And,
yes.
And then COVID hit. Like that had to be kind of overwhelming. You're jumping into a business that you've never been in, really. And all of a sudden everything gets shut down. What were some of the things that were going through your head?
Yeah, I was freaking out a little bit. I just quit my super stable job, salary job. And, it was like, oh, okay, I'm 100% commission now and I have to drum up business and I don't know anything about rules and regulations. And, my big thing for me was I love meeting people in person and I couldn't do that. So I was a little bit at a loss on how to build the business, but luckily, I was given an opportunity to help call on old clients, to help with refinances at that time. And that was a great experience for me, just getting reps in.
Yeah, that's you almost answered my question there, because I was going to say, well, how did you dig in? And that's the best way to do it. If there's a built-in past client database that you can go out there and you said one word that's so important. It's just getting the reps in, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And
learning. The fastest way to learn is by doing. So
you jump in the deep end, and within a year, well, let's call it 18 months, you're essentially the top dog as far as loan officers. You're not going to brag on you, but I'm going to brag on you because I've been in the business so long and I know how hard that trip is. And you were like in warp speed. Like what were you doing? What were some of your daily disciplines that you were doing to get to that point?
Of course, just making the number of calls. I think that's one thing that people really struggle with, up front, is just knowing really how many calls you need to be making, how many people you need to be meeting with. And I think people are so into just like, oh, I got to make the sale, oh, I got to get the meeting. But I think, ultimately, and you know this, but people buy from people they like, right? They just want to get to know you. They want to make sure that you're not just selling them a false set of goods. And I think just being genuine and just talking to people and learning about them and building relationships. I mean, we all know that that's the nature of this business. So.
And would you say, for me, having been in every derivation of lender, from banker to correspondent to broker, the culture of Collab, because we were getting recruited at the same time. And I remember at the end of that retreat saying, I feel like I'm with the Avengers of the Justice League because we're so different. But we all seem to have a common connection, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I love about being here is just the different types of personalities, and everybody has a really varying degree of experience, whether it's being in the industry or just different sales experience. And I think we can learn a lot of different sales tactics with that. How to build relationships. How are you successful with where you're at, versus where I'm at, like physical location wise, and how does it vary across the country?
Right. And so what would you say is the toughest part of the job? Because this business is not for the faint of heart.
No. I think the toughest part is just balancing all of the people involved. If it's a purchase, you've got the buyer's agent, the seller's agent, you've got the borrower, sometimes there's a borrower's family member that's involved, whether they're truly like involved on the loan, or also just, giving advice, or, helping, whether it's a parent or a family member. Then you've
Title,
got,
HOI.
yeah, then you've got title, you've got insurance, you've got the underwriter, and if, just like we have a team as well who helps us, our processing team. So there's a lot of hands involved, and you have to make sure everybody's communicating to each other. And so, and then also, I guess the other piece of it is just being able to just deal with the unknown. If an appraiser comes in low, how do you restructure the deal so that everyone feels like they're winning? Or if something comes up with the borrower where they lose their job in the middle of the loan, what are we going to do to make sure that we can get the loan to closing? So being able to kind of think on your feet and get creative and deal with the unknown and be able to handle that pressure, I think are the big things with the job.
Right. So there's definitely a lot of stress involved. That's at a high level. So what is it about what you do that keeps you going, keeps you motivated, and like let's call it the best part of the job?
Yeah, I think I just love helping borrowers. It's probably the social worker in me. That's what my degree's in, and being able to help a first-time home buyer when they're so stressed out about the process, and they're nervous, and they're kind of scared to make the leap, and being able to then get them to the closing table and kind of hold their hand through the process is always super rewarding. Even helping a borrower where maybe they never thought that they could own. I had that. I had a story one time where a guy, he was 57 years old, he made great money. He just, no one in his family had owned a house. He didn't think it was possible. He didn't know where to start. And man, when we got to the finish line, it was just so rewarding to just see how excited he was. And I think that just keeps me going. The job is super stressful, but when you know what the end result will be, it's awesome for sure.
Right. And you mentioned being a social worker, and whenever we're doing our team goal meetings or whatever, you talk about financial literacy. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think financial literacy is just something that isn't talked about. No one really tells you about how to build your credit, or that it's a little bit of a game. People aren't really taught budgets and how to save, and how to invest in the future. I mean, I think if you were brought up that way, or you were around someone that was maybe a financial advisor, maybe you got some of that advice. But I think for a lot of people, they're not taught that. They don't know where to start, and they don't realize they can utilize real estate to break a cycle, right? A poverty cycle, more or less. And so that's really also what fuels me. And of course, getting people to the finish line, but helping generations break cycles of that, and being able to really say, hey, this is my own, and I don't have to rent or leave because I have a crappy neighbor. So I love that. I think people don't have a lot of confidence in themselves, and you can show them how to do it, and they always say, oh, Melissa, you did this. And I say, no, you did the hard work. You just listened to the coach. You're the one that actually did the work. I can't do it for you. But
Right.
the fact that they're willing to listen and implement is always rewarding.
Yeah, and I always say, the real estate is the best way to create generational wealth, and that's
Yes.
not an exaggeration at all. So essentially, you're helping families generate wealth by what you're
Yeah.
doing. Right.
Yeah.
So let's get to the commercial part, because I have absolutely no interest in doing commercial loans. So when I get a commercial loan and they do come my way, I'm just going to hand them over to you. And I want people to know who they're dealing with. So why the interest in commercial?
I just think it's just fascinating because there's not a ton of regulation around it, which I think is a good thing. A lot of times you're dealing with investors who have maybe either bought real estate before, or maybe they're looking to become investors and they also don't know where to start. And you get to be really creative with the process. So there's not like a box that loans fit in. Sure, there's guidelines that we kind of run past, but many lenders, what they have as far as their process, every lender's a little different. And so you get to really kind of be creative and put a deal together that maybe won't work at these three other lenders, but these two lenders over here, they love the deal. They really like the property. They like the story. It's a little bit more story based. And I just also love working with business owners. just to be able to, get them into a property similarly, right? Instead of leasing a property, they actually own it. The business owns it. They're building wealth within their business.
What are some of your, if you could give me three, people just don't understand, or they just don't know they can do this with a commercial loan, or we can do this kind of commercial loan, what would be your top three?
So we get a lot of calls on mixed use properties, right? Where there's a storefront or office on the bottom, there's apartments up top. And so they often say, hey, I see this building, I wanna live in it. Can we do this loan? And so that's definitely something we run into a lot, especially, in Pennsylvania. And so one of the things with commercials that you can't occupy it, you can't live there yourself. That's just a hard no. But what's cool about it is you can create some passive income. And I think that can be really fun for investors. And that kind of leads into multifamily, right? So, apartments, we can do 1 to 4 units, or we can do 5 units and above. And just being able to, instead of having multiple single family properties, maybe you buy a 5 unit and you're able to manage it better, or have a property manager manage it. And so sometimes there's a lot more return on their investment with those types of properties.
And then we just got a nice little gift this week. It's like we can do student rentals now.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've run into is being able to do student rentals, right? So we've got, properties in these areas where there's universities, and, maybe students are renting out a room as opposed to like an entire, apartment or unit. And I haven't had a ton of options for that, just because, again, each lender has to sign off on it. And so, yeah, we met with another lender this week that said they really enjoy that type of product. So, always as brokers, we're always looking to grow our list of lenders, just to be able to provide more options to our borrowers.
Right. And they said they do, they want to do hospitals. I can't remember.
Yeah. Medical offices and facilities obviously are very hot right now, just with the ever growing, older generation that, they're still doing well. They may not want to live in their house by themselves, but they still can have independent living. So, that's definitely a hot type of property, and always looking for different lenders to be able to finance those as well.
Right. So this isn't the end of the interview, but if someone is looking for a commercial loan, how do they get in contact with you?
Yeah, they can obviously email me or call me. So my cell 717-860-0505, or email me melissa@collablending.com. I can walk you through the process on how to, get started. We often ask for a personal financial statement up front. If someone doesn't have one, I can obviously get them one, and we can really go from there.
All right. So let's finish strong with number one. How many families did you help in 2021?
98. So that was very cool. My goal is 100, so I missed it, but that's okay. I still consider it a win.
I remember in January of 21, you saying something like, yeah, I set this goal for volume. I don't know what I was thinking. And you hit it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. 20 million. Yep.
Yeah. You were like, oh, I don't know what I was thinking. But that was what was so impressive, because you threw it out there into the ether and you made it so. So again, what's your family's help goal for 2022?
I'd like to help 200 families. So I'd love to double that. And then, 50 million.
Love it.
Which is very aggressive. I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, again, if you don't throw it out there, it can't be so, right? Yeah. So when you're not being a badass loan officer, dominating every other loan officer, including myself, what are your hobbies? Like, tell me about, family time, hobbies. I know the answer, but.
Well, I love working out. I love going to Zumba. It's it's fun for me. It's like dancing. Love playing golf. I'm very excited. Looking forward to the golf season coming up here in the next month or so. I'm in a commercial real estate league, so that's a good time. And also my husband and I, we are renovating our house. We're doing it all ourselves. So we're almost done. It's been multiple years in the making. So
now, is that one of those things where you go, maybe we should have hired somebody, or it's like good therapy for you and good Zen time.
I'm glad I learned the process. Do I want to live through a construction zone again? No. But he's been building houses since he was 10. So it's one of those things that just comes with the territory.
And lastly, where are you located? Because we're all over the place. When we started, you and I started with, we were pretty much just Pennsylvania. And now we're in 7 states of Puerto Rico. So where's your physical office?
Yep. So I'm located in Harrisburg. So I would say South Central Pennsylvania. But obviously I can help the entire state of Pennsylvania and Maryland. I'm licensed in Maryland for residential, and then commercial we can do nationwide. So
say that again for commercial.
Commercial we can do nationwide. So and always, right, we're brokers. So even if it's on the residential side, we always know someone in every state, so.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about working with Megan and Andre is they are so connected with all these mastermind groups that if I ask for a referral in the state I'm not licensed in, I know it's going to be somebody that's legit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I really appreciate the time. Again, I'm just going to try to hang on your coattails as an old head.
I think I learned something from you every week, believe it or not.
Broken clock is right twice a day. That's what I always say. And I, I'm not going to just sit back and let you kick my butt. So I'm going to try to keep up with you. I know it's a fool's errand, but it's worth it to me because even if I get halfway there, I'm killing it.
Yeah, that's what I say. Even if I don't close 50 million, if I close 40 million, I'm still beat last year's.
Exactly. All right. Well, the best to you. Give the hubby a kiss for me, and thanks again for your time.